Welcome, loyal fans. We are gathered here today for the last round of the Nations Cup already. Today's race takes place on the real-life circuit called Fuji Speedway in Japan. The entire pool of Group 2 cars is available for this race, but around 95% of the global leaderboard is filled with one specific car, so we will trust the judgment of all the insanely fast drivers and go with the Honda NSX Concept GT just like them. Qualifying will last for 7 minutes, which makes it possible to drive a total of 4 flying laps. But since tire wear is pretty high, you can also do 2 separate laps with fresh tires in between. This choice may depend on traffic or mistakes. The race itself lasts for 20 laps, in which the racing medium and soft compounds are both available and required to be used. There is no required pit stop by itself, but switching compounds means at least one stop must be made. The popular strategy is to drive 10 to 12 laps on the mediums and switch to the softs for the last 10 to 8 laps. When starting in the very front of the field, for example top 3, this strategy can be reversed, but due to fuel weight, the softs will probably not last much longer than 8 laps in that case. During the practice rounds, it seemed to be possible to stretch the soft stint at the end to 10 laps, which also allows for a nice undercut if others drive on the mediums for longer. So that is probably going to be the strategy for today. Alright, as we are used to by now, let's take a quick look at the livery and some bloopers from the practice sessions. That is a good-looking car, if I may say so myself. Alright, on to the blooper reel then. Well then, on to qualifying. Due to traffic and a small mistake, Dordanov chose to not keep driving all 4 laps, but instead try for a second stint with fresh tires. This turned out to be the correct call, as the 1 minute 27.8 lap he did in the second try was a nice improvement. As you can see, the times are pretty close together here, so it's going to be a tight race. Hold on to your hats, folks. exactly what you don't want to see in the first corner. Braun in front was very early on the brakes, and the overtake on the outside was excellent, leaving plenty of space for Braun. There was, however, quite some contact on the inside, probably from other cars judging by Beppe in front, who picked up a penalty from it. Let's take a look at the replay. Yeah, that was way too late on the brakes. Doing a massive dive and almost ramming Dordanov off track in the process, that 2-second penalty is well deserved. Alright, back to the race at hand. Even though Beppe will give up the position at the penalty line, the driving is rather erratically and slower than Dordanov wants to go.
All right, mate. You can't park there, sir.
Quite an eventful first lap, but with Serginho going off track and Beppe serving a penalty, it is up to third place for now. Although that won't last long, as Braun is already right up Dordanov's tailpipe.
What?
We can see Braun flashing his hazards to apologize for pushing Dordanov wide there. A slightly defensive line is chosen to prevent the baguette behind pulling alongside before the corner. Uh-oh. That is really unfortunate. The field is still pretty close together, so a penalty will surely cost a few places at this point in the race. Luckily, it was only 2 places. That is not too bad. Let's see if any of those can be won back quickly. In this race, the slipstream is set to real instead of custom, which is normally used. You can really tell cars in front giving off dirty air costing grip in certain corners. Regardless, pace is better than Forrest in front, so he should be reeled in again soon. Totally misjudged the overspeed from the slipstream and overshot the corner. Back to square one. It will take a while to catch back up and have another shot, so we will skip forward to that moment.
Hello, Advent Skip.
We join back up at the start of lap 7, where Forrest is really close again and already takes a defensive line into turn 1. Space was given by both drivers and the overtake is finally done. It will take a bit to get to the next action once again, so we will skip to that.
Monster Skip.
At the end of lap 9, we see Huntsman in front trying to break the slipstream, and we are about to see the first place driver pull out of the pits after having driven 8 laps on the softs. He managed to get out right in front of Dordonoff and is now still on cold mediums. This will probably hurt Dordonoff's pace here. In the back, we can still see the midfield group of cars closing in. It's risky if they catch back up and get in range to attack for positions. When it would have been just Huntsman in front, Dordonoff would probably have chosen to extend his stint. But now traffic is looming. He decides to make his stop now and switch to the softs. This will allow for a possible undercut on Huntsman, and he is confident he can do the 10 laps without it costing him too much time. He is the first and only driver on mediums to make his stop now, though. All others will wait until laps 11 through 14 to make their stop.
Is this the Krusty Krab?
No, this is Patrick.
He comes out as dead last, not too surprising, while being the first one to stop and the field being rather close. All he has to hope for is not being held up by back markers, preferably by them moving out of the way and making their pit stops. This Audi seems to be reeled in really quick. Hopefully there is a good opportunity for the overtake. You can see the Audi pulling away. The slipstream isn't even enough to keep up with it. The Audi is the only grouped car that has a DRS system in place, allowing for much higher top speeds. It is slower over a full lap though, but another overtaking spot must be found. At least he is overtaken now, due to the low downforce in the corners.
All right, let's go. Super pursuit mode.
This is insane. It crawls through every corner, but once overtaken, he simply flies past on the next straight. What an absolute rocket ship over the straights. By now, Dordanov is back up to 7th place, from others making pit stops. But if too much time is lost behind David Bagethoff, it will cost positions. This is really ridiculous, and the stupid thing is, he is not even fighting for position. He is a full pit stop behind, and costing a lot of time like this. really intentional, of course, but that was some extremely early braking there, causing some unnecessary contact. Hopefully he will not fly straight past again, or things will get unbelievably stupid. Luckily, we see Kit pull into the pits now, as his job of annoying Dordanov is apparently done. The only positive thing is that the undercut on Huntsman actually worked. Dordanov is now back up to P5. However, there are some fast drivers on slightly newer rubber behind. We will do one final short skip to the point where they catch up.
Skip!
At the start of lap 15, Spanish driver Serginho has caught up using the slipstream and is making his move when Dordanov slightly overshoots the corner. This is only one driver, and the next driver in front is someone who appears to be slow. As turned out, this is the only other driver than the pole sitter to start on softs. He is now on mediums, ready for slaughter. Hopefully Serginho can pressure him, and Dordanov might be able to take advantage as well. Wow, that was some misjudgment from the situation. Dordanov will hold back a bit to allow Serginho back in front. What in the actual hell was that dick move? Forrest, hello. Let's take a look at the replay. Sure, just drive into the back of someone. Don't let off your throttle, and please continue on like nothing happened. Thanks, Forrest.
Are you stupid or something?
Stupid is, stupid does, sir.
Well, that little incident with Forrest made Dordanov fall back to places, and he is about to lose another one due to the terrible exit onto the straight. It's obvious he has more pace than the Frenchman in the GTR, but it's not that easy to get past here. Maybe the slipstream on the straight will help. Kudos to the Frenchman for keeping that position. Back to the drawing board. By now, it is growing to be quite a big midfield pack, with a few drivers in front slowing everyone down. This just shows how tricky it is to overtake here, especially with the dirty air at play. He basically had the position, but once again misjudged turn 1 with the changing conditions and gave it right back. Even though the soft tires are now really starting to complain, it seems like the others who all have newer tires are struggling equally as bad with grip. It looks like the Portuguese and French drivers in front are starting to get a bit touchy-feely with each other. It's quite annoying being stuck behind these drivers knowing you have way more pace in these slow sections, but can't seem to find a way around. It's already the last lap, and he is still being bested by the annoying Baguette in the GTR. Somehow, he keeps finding a way past again. I have no idea what happened there. He had the outside line, left space, but was pushed on the grass and eventually ended up in front of both drivers. Let's take a look at the replay of that situation. Take note here of Forrest's tire wear, and do remember he has pitted after Dordenhoff has. Let's show Dordenhoff's tires for comparison. As turned out, later in the replay, almost everyone had way worse tire wear compared to Dordenhoff. Even though they all made their stops way later, they didn't really take care of their tires too much, and as such, Dordenhoff felt like he had way more pace left he couldn't use. And we are about to see what this lack of grip does for Forrest, his front left tire. He understeered right into Dordenhoff, pushing him into the grass. And still, his only method seems to be to force his way everywhere using full throttle. 6th to 10th in just a few corners and taking his fellow baguette in the GTR down with him. Dordanov will take it though. Finally, a few positions gained he should have had ages ago. A 6th place will have to do, and look at how close that midfield was. Only 8 seconds between 3rd and 11th. Pace and strategy-wise, this should have been a 3rd place, somewhere close to Braun. But the unfortunate events leading to him being stuck behind Kit and his Super Pursuit mode and later being delegated back down by Forrest after a small mistake made sure that was no longer possible. Well, we will take the points and will wait patiently for the next cup. This cup had its ups and downs, but all in all, still a nice 7th place in the Netherlands and top 25% in the region. Pretty good, I must say. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.